Father Dwight Longenecker, who has me blocked, and I don't know why I like him.
I think I'm blocked too, but I'll be honest, I don't really like him.
I don't think he blocked me because he doesn't like me. I think he blocked me because I'm annoying.
You know, like he thinks I'm obnoxious. Kind of related.
I don't know. I think some people are annoying, but I still like them. I don't know. I'm weird though, so who knows?
I think so annoying, but I do like you. So
I don't think Father Longnecker meant this in the way I took it. So if you were to travel back to an ordinary Catholic mass in the 1950s, it would not be very much like the highly ornate, beautiful aesthetic traditionalism of today.
That first tweet, I don't even get it because like my TLM's not highly ornate.
No,
it's in an ugly Novus Ordo church.
I went to a low mass.
It's a church in the round.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like half in the round, a low mass that I went to on Sunday, and I actually like the less ornate, quiet low mass.
I prefer low masses too, to be honest.
I prefer it. Like it's silent. I was able to pray and like gather my thoughts. From what the old timers tell us, it was a matter of Father O'Finnegan strolling out and mumbling through his mass as quickly as possible while the faithful knelt and said and prayed the rosary.
First off, I just want to point out that's his ex-Anglican English hatred of Irish right there. On display.
So Father O'Finnegan strolling out, mumbling through the mass as quickly as possible while the faithful knelt and prayed the rosary. Meanwhile, the altar boys were betting if Father could set a new speed record. This freaking phrase specifically has been on repeat. It's the only criticism I have ever seen of the pre-conciliar liturgy. I have never seen another criticism of the pre-conciliar liturgy.
Nor have I ever seen any evidence supporting any of what he just said.
So my response was, oh man, why did it screenshot that? It's got that stupid thing over it. I can't.
What?
Oh, there it goes. Never mind. From what the old timers tell us, you mean the revolutionaries who destroyed what was handed down to them? I'll still take the least ornate low mass with parishioners who pray the rosary of the Novus Ordo. But you had said something. I should have put your tweet in because you said
I can find my own tweet.
Yeah, find yours because you talk about it being hearsay. Like it's not even.
Oh yeah, so I that was a reply like 20 replies down, but no, it's exactly hearsay. The tweet that I tweeted was more like you have someone say that and they're like, oh, well, did you see any masses like that? You know, and obviously they're too young. Like, no, but and they're like, oh, well,
they told me.
Have you seen any like actual statements from primary sources that, you know, that of someone who saw that? No, but my Aunt Ethel told me once. Your Aunt Ethel, who was like 8 at the time, and like, come on. They never can actually show any of what they claim.
So Eric Savins wrote, when I was working in Florida diocese dominated by boomer era Catholics, I noticed that every story I heard from them about the bad old days of pre-Vatican II Catholicism sounded eerily the same, down to even the exact same phrasing at times. It was clearly a sign of brainwashing. Some of them weren't even old enough to remember much of the 50s Catholicism, but they would assure me they experienced how bad it was and how I was too young to understand. Once that brainwash narrative goes away with the next generation, we'll be fully able to move forward. Now, this is like almost exactly what happened when my dad watched my show when we were criticizing the boomers the other day. And he said to me, he's like, I remember the Latin Mass. It was so stuffy and we couldn't even understand what was going on. And it was like, you just said the same exact thing that you were told to say. Like you were told to say that and you like registered it in and it stuck with you. And like, you're just repeating the thing they told you to say because they all say the same thing.
In like, they show how ignorant they are about the TLM when they say that, because what do you mean mumbling? The mass is said quietly. You cannot hear the priest anyways.
Yeah. It's so strange. Like, you don't know if his Latin was right. You didn't speak Latin anyway. How do you know if he was mumbling it?
We didn't know what they mean. Did you not know how to read English? Because like Latin English missals were all over the place.
It's also the era of the radio's invented in like when was the radio invented? Like the early 20s?
Dude, it's invented by an Italian and you don't even know when it's invented.
I know, it's like the early 1900s, like where you start getting like real radio programs and like.
I mean, in America, the radio was in almost every household by like the 30s.
by like late, 1920s, 1930s. Now, by the time the 50s comes, now you have the television. And the television is this magic box that beams programming into your home. It was like this new tool for brainwashing people. Commercial radio is the 30s. Okay, so that's when you get like Little Orphan Annie and things like that. And then you get the television comes in. Like this new tool that they come out with is this mass propaganda tool. And they use it to brainwash an entire generation into just completely upending everything and thinking they needed a cultural revolution. But it's so good that they make them think it's a grassroots thing, but they're manipulating the whole thing the entire time. We saw it happen with the BLM riots and stuff like that. Like every single thing is manipulated. There's money that goes into the protests and there's money that goes into everything, but they all think it's this, we're a generation of revolution. This revolution carries on into the council. And that same propaganda machine that they used on the culture, they used on the same people that are going into the council, and everybody comes out spewing the same stuff. And this whole thing neuters the church, it dismantles sexual ethics, and destroys the family. Everything is like intended to upend Christian society, and it just happened. And it's still happening today. And even like these wars that we're having between the trads and the Novus Ordos and stuff like that, like half of it's manufactured on social media. You go to a parish and you don't see that on the ground. It's just, we're over here arguing for it because we're fighting with bots. The church was growing in the U.S. during the 40s and 50s. Bishop Fulton Sheen was on, if not the most popular public figure, if not the most popular figure on TV. Their catchphrases are copes to justify the radical change. You can't separate the massive cultural change that comes in apart from the technology that comes into play. And it's the same thing with the internet. Like we're dealing with the same thing right now. We're about to come up on another cultural revolution, and they're using the new technology that's being fed to feed this revolution. And we're all going to think, because I was talking about this with my cousin last night, just how getting into the same conversation we always do about like the next generation not being able to afford housing. Like, so, I mean, this could feed into the 32-year-old video. You want to throw that on? It's a good segue.
I don't know. Are we done with this part yet?
Well, it's just, no, I guess not. Yeah, it's just the same tired cope that we always hear from the same people that argue against the traditional liturgy. It's like, I have seen on the ground, like I spent my life in the Novus Ordo. Don't tell me, because people will say like,
my parents, aunts, uncles, they're all boomers who, if they go to mass, it's nominal at best, and they all they were raised in a Catholic school, and they have all the stories about nuns beating them, and they had to go to public school for science because no one at the Catholic school
even the nuns beat us. I don't believe any of you. I don't believe the nuns beat you guys. I think you're liars.
And you know what?
Somebody told you the nuns hit you, and you just spew that nonsense.
If they did, good. They should have hit you harder.
And like, I don't like, you really like grown men complaining the nuns hit you. Stop it. My mom hit me all the time when I was younger. It never hurt. I used to laugh at her. She gets so mad.
Well, it's like the light version of the residential school story in Canada, and the babies in the septic tank in Ireland, and how they've proven to be 100% false each and every time. So you know what, you dying old boomer, I don't care if the nuns hit you, and I just don't believe you.
Yeah, Cal, more hearsay. Your classmates got hit. You didn't though, right? Yeah, sure. No, they came out and they told you they did. What happened? The nun smacked them on the hand with the ruler. Knock it off. Can you guys stop?
Well, that stuff was happening in public schools too. You know what I mean?
Seriously, get over it. What's the matter with everybody? Oh, the nun hit me.
Oh, Cameron's on her show.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Cameron, I'd love to get you on and just hang one night. I know we were kind of cut out of the whole cool trad.
It would actually be interesting
circle
to hear,
back when the documentary was made, but
it'd be interesting to hear his take on this subject. Actually,
yeah,
it's just he's seen any actual evidence of the claims.
I just think it's so bizarre that like because there's the same catchphrases that you hear over and over, like even the like everything we're saying, the nuns hit us, all this stuff, like I don't think any of this stuff happened. And the reason I don't think it is because when they tell me that the residential school thing in Canada happened was and then you find out it's nonsense. You hear about the stories over in Ireland, and you find that that's nonsense too. Like how much of the stuff you were told about the horrible state of the church before the council is just propaganda that you were fed through TV. So 100%. Like 100%, right? So me and my wife watched this series about it was about an Irish these Irish nuns who were dealing with children being adopted, and this woman she was a teenage girl and she got pregnant and she went to the nuns for help, and they basically adopted her child away and told her child died. And I'm like, we watched this thing and I'm just like, my wife's like, this is horrible that this happened. I'm like, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. Like we're watching something to make us angry at something that never happened. It's like all of it. It's just anti-Catholic propaganda. I don't believe any of it. And it's all going to come back to those donors pressure the people. It's just I just think all of it is nonsense. Like I don't see any evidence of I grew up in the Novus Ordo. I went to 2 Novus Ordo masses last month because I had to. Like I know what it is. You guys can't fool me. I'm not like some rad trad who grew up in the SSPX and I just like I know what it is. I know. I spent a lot of time there. Like you're
I was
not
an
going
altar
to
boy. I went through CCD.
Yeah, don't try
I went
to
NET. I
me.
went to the Steubenville conferences. I know, guys.
It's not good. Like stop it. It's like, man, we're gonna get into what Sede Picante said and stuff with that Eric McCabe guy too. It's just. Why did I go to the Novus Ordo? I'm not like I don't think like the Novus Ordo isn't the mass. I don't know. Like if I have to go, I'll go. I don't like it, but I will. Like
yeah, Anthony knows what he was talking about because he was beat by Novus Ordo nuns.
No traditional nuns ever hit me, I'll tell you that.
Just because never mind.
I don't know, man. I just don't believe any of it. And maybe some of it did happen, and I'm just jaded and cynical at this point. But I just like,
it's like the one piece of evidence they ever show, right, of the bad TLMs is the Kennedy funeral. It's like, oh, you're telling me that a cardinal who went to Vatican II and probably was one of the revolutionaries said a bad Latin mass. Oh. Well, yeah. Of course he did. Come on.
Yeah. What did actually I've never actually watched that video. What is so bad about it?
He can't pronounce Latin. He can't say Latin at all.
Now, if a priest's Latin is whatever, I don't even care.
So no, I know what you're gonna like. So yeah, people were saying that it could invalidate the mass, and so I looked it up, and St. Thomas does talk about how if the priest says the word in such a way where it cannot be understood as the word, as the words of like consecration, it could invalidate the mass. Like if they're changing like the prefix of the word in Latin, right, and saying like mother instead of father, that invalidates the mass. If they're putting like the wrong suffixes and declinations and stuff, that doesn't invalidate the mass.
They're also reading
the card that's right in front of them.
It's like, so all right, so you mispronounced something. It's not the same thing as like changing the words of consecration. Like you can mispronounce something.
I've literally seen and heard Novus Ordo priests ad lib consecration. So you know what? I'm not all that worried about some
I'm tired of hearing like there was so there was like a push for liturgical reform because maybe things were getting a little stale. I'll give you that. Like, so I gotta be honest. Sometimes I go to a high mass and it's an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm like, I wish we kind of got one of those speedy mumble through the mass and got me out of there quicker. Like, I'm not so averse to a 40-minute mass. I'm not like I'm okay with a 40-minute mass. I'm okay with a 35-minute Novus Ordo daily mass. Like it's okay.
That's another thing. Like like everyone who says, "Oh, half-hour low masses," have you guys never gone to daily mass?
Daily
Like,
mass is 35 minutes. There's no
yeah,
music. It's nothing. You
right.
just go. You're
One
in and you're
reading,
out.
no, maybe a sentence or two for a homily. Like that hasn't changed. So give me a break.
And it's like you actually like that. Like who? Come on, listen.
Like
You
obviously,
we
I
all want the
understand
mass to be a little quicker. Come on.
I understand a high mass with a beautiful choir obviously is more pleasing to God, right? I understand that. But if we're talking simply about preferences, which everyone says the TLM is just our preference, it's like, no, it's theologically just better. But if we were talking about preferences, I don't need to sit through some choir chanting the Gloria. I really don't, or the Creed,
Look,
or just give me the low mass.
I'm gonna show you exactly what the problem is with what we're talking about, and play this video. I just sent it. Play this video because this is what I'm talking about. Let's play this. This is what we're talking about right here.
What's with the circus organ?
We don't have to play the whole thing, but Andrea Bocelli singing the Ave Maria. Beautiful, beautiful. He's in beach clothes. He's not the only one. Every single person there is in beach clothes. You look at the woman's wearing a tank top and shorts, and it's like there comes a certain point where you have to say there's something so informal about the Novus Ordo that you feel normal going in your beach clothes to it. Like you just there's something so transcendent about the Latin Mass that you wouldn't dare go in wearing beach clothes. Like you just, and it's not just because you'll be looked at. Like you feel like you're going to something formal. You feel like you're going to something otherworldly.
And it's just literally going to say otherworldly. Yeah.
It's the liturgy itself is so informal that people will go in their pajamas. Now, look, I've gone to a daily Latin Mass where I'm going from work and I'm in my work clothes, but you feel out of place. Like you don't, but, and it's also a daily Mass. It's not a Sunday Mass. It's like, but the liturgy itself is this informal, hey, we're just coming together for a meal. Everybody just let's shake hands and let's get to meet each other. It's like, it doesn't display what it claims to be, which is where heaven meets earth, the holy sacrifice of Calvary. It just doesn't engender that in any way whatsoever. So, I mean, you can't, and it's like, and they're not even like dressed that bad, those people. Like they're dressed in nice shorts and collared shirts.
Most Novus Ordo masses.
Yeah, that's the point. Like I've seen girls in yoga pants and tank tops. And it's like it's just baffling to me that people can't see. Like I see it. Don't tell me my eyes aren't seeing what I'm seeing. I see it. Yes, it's a Protestant way of worship. Of course it is. Like it just is. Could you have John Farrell from Annulment Proof on the show?
No. Absolutely not.
I don't even know who he is. I just know everybody keeps bugging us at him. I really don't know who he is. Yeah, no, that's what they're telling me. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying eyes. Like I know, I see it every week. Yoga pants every week. It's the same thing. And it's just, you see people go receive communion, they rush out the door. It's just, and it's not, I'm not even knocking the people because it's not like it's really not the people wearing the clothes that are the problem. It's the liturgy itself tells them it's totally fine to do. And there's no reason for them to think otherwise. It's like people really are just going, they want to get in, they want to get out, they just want to go do that, so they can say they fulfilled this Sunday obligation and get it over with. And it kind of just is that. I don't know. All right, we'll just be seen as the evil trads who hate the Novus Ordo, I guess. What are you gonna do?